Good afternoon and welcome to the APA Division 15 business meeting for the 2020 conference. Thank you all for coming and joining. I want you to know that this session is being recorded and the chat will be saved, just so you know those things. I am Helen Rose Fives, president of Division 15 for another 48 hours or so. And then Michelle will be taking over for me. Thank you, Michelle. No, wrong click. So just an agenda for today. We have a brief tribute to Stuart Karabinick, who passed away last weekend. We will approve the 2019 business meeting minutes. There should be a link to them in the chat for you very shortly so that you can review them. I will provide a president's report, and then we will have Gwen Marchand, our treasurer, report on our finances. Wade's going to talk to us about our larger member business. We will recognize people who are receiving awards. I will welcome the incoming leaders, and Michelle, our incoming president, is going to say a few words. And then we're going to wrap up with the program committee report. They're going to explain how the program is going to work in this new virtual setting. And so here we go. Before I start here, I want to really thank Tim Erden and Revthi Kumar, who put these slides together for us to help us remember Stuart Karabinick, a life well lived. Professor Stuart Karabinick, the person, a proud father of four, a grandfather of two, a son, a husband, a Michiganer who went to Michigan for undergrad, grad, and work, a vegetarian and an old hippie who cut his hair, got a suit, but never really lost the hippie in him, a soft-spoken, opinionated political activist and an optimist, a friend to so many from such different circles, a lover of jazz, jazz fest, and good beer, a man of endless curiosity, always reading, learning, and teaching. A man with a vision for a better world. A mensch, a person who led with kindness, humility, and wisdom. The scholar. He had a long career at Eastern Michigan University with professor emeritus status. He was a research professor at U of M, affiliated with the combined program in education and psychology. He's an internationally renowned scholar on motivation and self-regulation, one of the foremost experts on help-seeking behavior. He had a tremendous variety of research topics, including help-seeking, achievement goals, teacher identity, ethnic and religious identity, classroom environments, research methodologies, religious fundamentalism, and the list continues. He has scores of collaborators all over the world, and he's a beloved mentor to graduate students and early career professionals. And towards that, I will close with some quotes from some of his graduate students. Kara Makaras wrote, Stuart was a dedicated, supportive, inspiring, and generous PhD advisor and mentor. He achieved the very rare accomplishment of having both breadth and depth in his knowledge, his experience in different psychological and educational areas, his mentoring, his writing, his connection to others, and in his life interests. Stuart will be greatly missed. Stuart was epistemologically courageous, always encouraging us to ask difficult conceptual and methodological questions. He was never afraid to earnestly confront the limitations of our understanding in educational and psychological research. From Jeffrey Albrecht. Stuart was a wonderful mentor and person who warmly welcomed everyone he met to share a drink, meal, conversation, music, and their passion. His collegial approach, love of learning, and boundless intellectual engagement provide a model for so many of us. Thank you, Melissa Gilbert. I'm going to just ask that we take 10 seconds and remember Stuart. All right, now to the business portion of this meeting. I'm going to ask somebody on the panel, I hope, to motion to approve the 2019 business meeting minutes.
I motion to approve the minutes.
And do we have a second?
Second. Yes, I second. That's Gwen.
That was Gwen Marchand who seconded. And so the vote is to the division or to anybody here who do approve the 2015 minutes, and it should pop up on your screen to vote. I'll just give that a few seconds. So maybe as people continue to vote, I should continue. Wade, what do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay. I'll come back at the end of the presidential report to say that we've actually approved the minutes, I hope. Okay. So the president's report. My presidential theme was a new look at some old ideas, educational psychology from yesterday for tomorrow. Sounded great back in August of 2019. In my theme statement, I wrote that I'd like to encourage members to take a look back at the foundational knowledge of educational psychology and reconsider it in light of today's context. Well, today's context is quite different than what I was imagining, but I think this still holds true, and I hope that we all work and strive to do this. We know a lot about teaching and learning. We may not know a lot about how to teach third graders through Zoom, but our other theories and practices and studies can really inform what's going on if we get our voices as educational psychologists and researchers out into the hands and minds of the teachers and administrators who need it. I did try to address this theme throughout the year. So I created 4 new ad hoc committees. We have the ad hoc committee on race and diversity, our ad hoc practice committee that is doing practice briefs to put in the hands of practitioners. We have a new journal committee that has worked to develop a concept of a new journal on educational psychology and policy and practice. We should hopefully in the near future be seeing a call for the inaugural editor of that journal to come out. And we started my Mythbusters on mission learning styles and all of the other education myths out there, and hopefully we can continue with that. We had 6 so far entries in the Psychology Today blog. I'd like to point to the last one by Lisa Duffin, which is on learning styles. The blog itself is great, but at the end, she also links us to a variety of resources that we could use to teach people about the myth or about how learning styles is a myth. And it's all online, which is very helpful given how most of us are teaching today. We had 1 new policy brief come out, and we had 3 practice briefs. Lissa Roy, chair of the practice committee, is on fire with these. I'd like to point to the last one, homeschooling under quarantine. Deborah Bell and Avi Kaplan got that out very quickly in response to what was happening back in March and now. The division continues to do many things. Our graduate student seminar, which is usually very vivid during the conference right now, is actually happening. There are 16 students participating. I don't know how many mentors and panelists, but there's a lot of work going on with that. Our webinar committee has put out 2, maybe 3 webinars so far that have been really well attended and continue to plan new ones. We give out several different kinds of research grants. This is all facilitated by our grant chair people and their teams, as well as the achievement awards. So we want to thank all of these people. The Committee for Early Career Educational Psychologists, Christine Bay and DeLeon Gray, actually co-sponsored with the Motivation SIG shortly after AERA was canceled and had a shared happy hour that was actually a lot of fun and came at just the right time. And our Publications Committee is also working with that new journal committee so that we can move forward with that. I want to say that this isn't just me, this is the executive committee. We tried to respond as rapidly as we could to the changing context. This is a moving target for us, but I would like to say we put out an action statement for the division that Marcus Johnson authored for us. He is on the executive committee, he is our rep to council. And that statement actually had action items about things we want to do. One of those things was to make the Committee on Race and Diversity a standing committee. The EC had our meeting on Monday, and we did indeed vote to approve this new standing committee for the division. So looking forward to seeing the work that comes out of that committee with Jessica Gumby leading the charge there. Next, another thing the EC voted and approved on Monday is a new Division 15 research grant opportunity, education research in the time of COVID-19 and civil rights and social justice movements. I'm going to take a second here and talk about this because I think it's important for people to know. Mary McCaslin sent an email to Sharon and said, this was when COVID had just come out. Sharon, do you think Division 15 could do anything, a grant or anything about COVID? And Sharon emailed it to me and I said, sure, draft a proposal. As this evolved, it became a larger grant call. But this is something that came from a member who emailed a member of the EC and we made it happen. There will be small grants between $1,000 and $5,000, and we've allocated $30,000 for this initiative. You can look for that grant call on Monday. We are also working to rename our Career Achievement Award, and I put a little star there because I'm going to talk about that in a little more detail later. We have an upcoming practice brief on implicit bias, and on Saturday afternoon or morning if you're out in California, I guess, we have an interactive session that will happen during the conference. Race, a discussion of Division 15 actions and opportunities. The purpose of this is just to give us space to talk about this stuff, right? To talk about how race is impacting or isn't impacting our work and how it should. There will be 13 small discussion groups that we're going to try to limit to 15 participants. And discussion topics range around how to integrate more issues of race and diversity in our teaching, how to do that with our research, and then also some discussion of what Division 15 can be doing, how we can be acting better. If you are interested in participating in that session, you can go to our website, and under the conference page for this particular session, there's a link to a form that lists all of the specific discussion topics, who's facilitating them, and you can click on which ones you would like to participate in. I will close that form at 2 p.m. on Friday, go through and see who can be assigned to what groups. I will send that to the discussion team leaders, who will then email out to anybody who's participating in that a Zoom link for that session. We have note takers in all of these discussion groups as an opportunity to grab the ideas so that they're not lost. Yeah, that's why. So I need to say thank you to our 1,500 to 1,800 members. It has been a wonderful ride as your president. We have over 115 volunteers that make all of that great stuff happen. And it's amazing that we have so many people willing to do this kind of work. I invite more of you to join in because we have plenty to do with our 19 committees. So the proposed bylaw change. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the change. I'm going to show you the rationale, and then I'm going to explain to you the process. So here is the proposed bylaw change. We want to change the Career Achievement Committee's name. It is currently named the E.L. Thorndike Award Committee, and we would like to remove E.L. Thorndike and instead rename or revise the committee name to be the Career Achievement Award for Distinguished Psychological Contributions to Education. I'd like to point out that language comes directly off of the plaque that people who have received this award in the past have received. It's right off the plaque. So we're not even changing the meaning of the award. We're just removing Thorndike's name. Why? So back in October, when I was new and didn't know much, again, another division member just asked me in passing, why did we continue to give out the E.L. Thorndike Award, given concerns about his beliefs? I, of course, said, what concerns? I took it to the EC, the executive committee, the Thorndike committee, and I investigated and reflected on this query. And ultimately, the executive committee came to the conclusion that the award should be renamed, which means we need to make a bylaw change, which means the members need to vote on this. The reason for this change is that E.L. Thorndike adhered to and promoted eugenics. I would like to point out that Teachers College just removed his name from one of their buildings. This was done at the behest of a group of graduate students who put together a proposal for this. So how does this happen? Well, all members and fellows of the division are eligible to vote. So if you are an affiliate, which means you're not a member of APA, but you are of Division 15, you're a non-voting member of this community. So if you'd like to vote on this, please become a member. A bylaw change requires 2/3 approval of everybody who votes. So in the next few weeks, all voting members will receive an email explaining the change and a larger rationale statement. We have evidence and citations and quotes from Thorndike to explain why we think this is warranted, and then a link to cast your vote. That voting then remains open for 30 days, and then we find out what happened. I'd like to point out that this might take a little more time than any of us would think, because we are required to send paper ballots to any voting members for whom we do not have an email. So please make sure we have an email for you. Right now we have 69 people that we will need to send paper ballots to, which APA will not do because they are not in the office. So that's something that's just going to take us a little more time than I would like, but we'll be fine. Now I'm going to turn this over to Gwen Marchand for the treasurer's report.
Hey everybody, I am here to tell you about basically what happened in our last fiscal year, which was 2019. Helen Rose, if you could please advance the slides. Just one. Okay. The good news is that the division is financially very healthy, even with some of the upheaval in the world right now and the changes in the stock market and finances. We are actually doing really well. So you can see that we've had an increase. The blue line is income. We've had an increase in our income from the previous fiscal year, which is 2018. Our expenses have generally remained pretty steady from last year as well. And we have a slight increase in our net income. Next slide. Okay, this one, we'll see if this fixes itself. It doesn't want to fix itself, but there we go. I think, oh yeah, so income comes first. So as you can see, the majority of our income comes from the royalties and also the contract that we have with Taylor and Francis for the execution and the operations of the educational psychologists. So great job everyone for sending in high quality manuscripts and for our editorial teams and making sure that things get out and they get out well. And I will note that the royalties that have come in the last year and continue even through this year, which is not reflected, have been higher than our anticipated amount. So we have a basic level that we have contracted with Taylor and Francis, and then we are consistently earning more than what is expected. Next slide. And in order to make that quality happen, the majority of our expenses actually also come from paying the editorial operations and stipends related to the journal, and also our investment in our wonderful Wade George, who has made sure that we all these great things are happening in terms of the technology, the webinars, and the communications around the division business. The remainder of it is peppered around some of the operations costs related to the annual meeting that we have, travel, which used to happen back before COVID-19, and then also some of the operating costs related to officer positions and the awards. Thanks you. Perfect timing, Helen Rose. Go ahead, next one. And so just a brief breakdown, our net income was up from the previous year. We earned about $46,000 last year. I've already covered where that came from, and our assets to date are also up from the same point last year. So we continue to earn money. We are invested fairly conservatively per APA's guidelines. They do have some restrictions on how we can invest, and we will continue to take a look at that in the Finance Committee. And I want to welcome our new treasurer, Jonathan Hilpert, and also acknowledge and thank our outgoing treasurer, past treasurer, Beverly Fairclough, who has done an enormous job in helping shepherd us over the last few years, and also welcome our new treasurer-elect, Doug Lombardi. So thanks, that's it for me.
All right, we're going to turn it over to Wade now.
Okay. So here's just a look at some of the basic communications business from the current year. We'll go to the next slide. This is an overview of our core communication channels for the organization, spanning social media, our job board, Psych Today, and our more recent edition of the podcast. You can see that across the past year, we've seen pretty significant growth consistently throughout all channels. The job board, we did see a bit of attrition this year. I think in my expectation, due to COVID-19, hiring was put on hold a little bit. And so we've seen a lower rate of job posts coming into the website. If your organization or university is hiring anyone, I do encourage you to pass this along. you can just send it to my email address. I'm sure that you have that plenty of different places in your inbox at this point. This is a free service from Division 15. They end up being shared to our job board and then going out in our weekly digest. We also saw a slightly lower number of podcasts compared to this time last year, but we have seen significant growth in the total number of listens, both on SoundCloud and iTunes. Next slide. So our membership has remained relatively steady for the last 3 years. We hit a peak around 2014. After the Hoffman report's release, we saw a little bit of attrition. Most members recognized that Division 15 was pretty far removed from that, and the work that educational psychologists do as well. We do have an ongoing free membership campaign. Anyone that has not been a member of Division 15 for the previous calendar year is eligible to receive a free first year of membership. This results in pretty considerable and continuous churn year over year, but it's more important for us really to be reaching a broad audience with our resources, awards, grant opportunities, and everything else than really focusing just on the membership numbers themselves. As you can see from Gwen's slides, it is a somewhat negligible source of income. That said, this is extremely important for us to keep everyone connected. So renewal is live, and we would really appreciate it if you can submit that as soon as possible. Our Psych Today blog has seen continued success this year. We have a really interesting effect in which every new post actually brings significant numbers of reads to our past posts. So we are gathering a lot of momentum, and we recently had a post that in its first week passed over 10,000 reads on its own. So pretty excited about the work being done there. And we have a big thanks to Ellen Usher and Sarah Kiefer, who have done a fantastic job organizing all of our edits for these posts as they come in. The podcast series, Jeff Green does the majority of heavy lifting on this. He's been fantastic at interviewing some very interesting people, typically pulled from the past year's issues of educational psychologist. He has an incredible speaking voice, as many of you listeners can attest to. And he always does a great job of guiding these conversations. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to the podcast, please do so. This is a list of our 2020 contributors. As I said, we've had 6 episodes in the past year. Just a reminder, the job board is completely free. Make sure you're sending those posts in. We have a tremendous number of subscribers and a lot of organic traffic. Because it's free, there's no downside to passing it along. We do prefer a Word document. It's a little bit harder to format PDFs. Our One Tip series is coming back. We have a couple issues that are going to be released by the end of 2020. I actually have one on my desk for review right now. And, just in general, as I mentioned every year, it's important for us to grow by referrals. If you have found enjoyment and value from your Division 15 membership, please consider sharing us with students, colleagues, and mentors. Again, this is completely free for the first year. And after that, the cost of membership tops out at $35 per year. Division 15 membership does not require APA membership. So pretty affordable.
Thank you, Wade. And much thanks to Wade for all that he does for us, which is mostly keeping us on track. Now for the fun part of the evening, we get to see who the recipients are of our various awards and what kinds of contributions and accomplishments members have had. So first, our 2020 award recipients. These are the people who are receiving the Paul Pintrich Outstanding Dissertation Award, the Snow Award for Early Contributions, and the Career Achievement Award for Distinguished Psychological Contributions to Education. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I'm hopeful. Congratulations to Kevin Wong, Logan Forella, and Tom Good. And if we were in person, we'd all be cheering because they'd be here in the room and I'd make them stand up. So pretend that's happening. As a point of interest, the 2019 recipients are presenting their award talks during this virtual conference. You can come tomorrow at 4 Eastern Time to hear Steve Graham's talk, and Saturday morning starting at 12:30 Eastern, We have Jenna Finch and Doug Lombardi giving their award talks. I'm excited to see all of them. Each year we give out an award for an outstanding article in educational psychologists. And this year I'd like to congratulate Stephanie Jones, Michael Magara, and Jennifer Kahn, whose paper on social and emotional learning, a principled science of human development in context, was selected for this year's award. Again, if you're there, yay, congratulations. This is quite an accomplishment given how good everything is an educational psychologist, at least in my opinion. We welcome new fellows. The council voted yesterday and approved 4 new division fellows for us. It's funny, these fellows are all gals. Rafti Kumar, Krista Mewis, Sharon Nichols, and Ellen Usher. Congratulations. Also, we have fellows from other divisions who have now had fellow status in Division 15, Jonathan Plucker and John Snary. I would like to specifically thank Dale Shunk and the entire Fellows Committee. They put forth a lot of work to get these fellow applications moved through the system. It is difficult, but important work. So thank you to that committee. We are giving 3 early career research grants to Emma Burns, Shi Chen, and Christine Barasima. I apologize if I am destroying people's names. Wendy Middlemass, who's chair of this committee, tells me that there were a great number of really good proposals, and these 3 really rose to the top, so congratulations to you. So for the past few years, we've been giving a student poster award during the conference. 255 posters were accepted, 41 actually submitted for the award. Our 10 finalists are featured on the Division 15 conference website. If you've been to the conference in person in the past, you might remember that the opening social usually has all of those 10 finalists presenting their posters, which is a really nice interactive way for us to talk with students in a more relaxed fashion, and they get extra practice on giving out their poster talks. So not quite as great, but they are on the division website, and the work they did is really amazing. So I recommend taking the time to take a look at that. And many of them have also added little video clips. So without further ado, the 2020 Student Poster Award recipients are Manisha Nagpal and Oluwasola Oni. Congratulations. I think these are the only people who are surprised to be receiving the award today. So I'd like to say thank you to our changing leadership. We have an outgoing team of leaders that have helped the division tremendously. And of course, we have some incoming people. Much thanks to Gail Sinatra, who's done an amazing job as president-elect, president, and now past president. Rafti Kumar, our secretary, Bev Faircloth, our past treasurer, and Sharon Nichols, who was our rep to council. Thank you to all of you. We also have some outgoing committee chairs, Nicole Barnes and Jamaal Matthews, Clark Chin, Linda Hutchinson, Dale Shunk, and Ben Hetty. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you who are interested, know all of those jobs are now open. And if you have any interest in doing them, contact Michelle Buell, our incoming president, anytime after Sunday, mbuell@gmu.edu. Our incoming leaders, as I just said, our president, Michelle Buell, our president-elect is Avi Kaplan, our vice president, Sharon Nichols. Sharon loves the EC, so she's stepping down from one position and then taking a strong leadership force. Welcome to Serena Shim and Doug Lombardi, as well as Michelle Gregoire-Gill. This is a great incoming executive committee. So now I'm going to turn it over to our incoming president, who wants to say a few things. Michelle.
I'm coming. Here I am. Hello. First of all, just a very big thank you to Helen Rose, Nicole, Jamaal, and of course, Wade George for all the work they have done throughout the year, but particularly in getting the virtual conference together. I think we have a really exciting set of activities and sessions and things that they have arranged for us. So just a big thank you to them. I know I have big shoes to fill, but I'm very much looking forward to and honored to be taking on the role of president. I know Helen and Gail and other past presidents have had a lot of really exciting initiatives and things helping us to move forward as a division. So I'm looking forward to continuing that work, continuing to work with the EC and the various committees. I really long considered Division 15 one of my academic homes, and I'm excited to have this role. And way back before COVID happened, The thing that really resonated with me was the idea of balance and sustainability at the individual level, but also with us as an organization and us moving EdPsych forward as a profession. So really thinking about how we can maintain balance, but also sustain ourselves. And in thinking about that, thinking of issues of leadership and membership and trying to bring more people into the organization, but also promote leadership within the organization and within the field. So if you are interested, as Helen just noted, please let me know if you're interested in getting involved. I'll put my email address in the chat box if you want to contact me individually. You're welcome to contact me before Sunday if you want. I have a number of positions to fill. I'm looking forward to get more people involved, so please feel free to reach out. Thank you. Back to you, Helen.
All right. So I think I have it confirmed from the chat that the minutes were approved. So I just want to put that in the record. And now I'm going to turn it over to our program committee, Nicole Barnes and Jamaal Matthews.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Barnes, and I'm here with my co-program chair, Jamaal Matthews. We are so honored to present the first all-virtual convention of APA Division 15. You know, making this transition to the virtual format was not an easy task, and we definitely want to extend our thanks to Helen Rose, to Wade George, APA, and especially all the presenters who worked so hard to make the sessions engaging and accessible in this virtual format. Very, very much thank you. This year, we received 15 program hours from APA. In addition, we were given 2 free poster sessions that did not count towards our allocations, and 5 hours that we could use for division business like this meeting and the socials. So the allocations were very similar to what we received in 2019. We allocated these hours as follows. We had 6 poster sessions, 5 symposia, 1 invited symposium, 1 invited session for the early career folks, 3 award talks, 1 presidential address, and 5 hours for meetings and socials. We received 260 submissions, 5 of these were symposia, and 255 were individual poster presentations. These numbers were very consistent with what we've received previously. All the submissions were reviewed by at least 2 reviewers, and then we made acceptance, rejection decisions based on the reviewer ratings and the feedback that we received. If you recall, paper sessions were eliminated by APA this year. So individuals had to either submit fully formed symposium or elect for individual posters. So this means that overall in our program, we had less symposia, but we had much higher quality individual posters on our program, and we're really proud of that. So here's what we accepted. We accepted 4 symposia and 182 posters, which gave us an acceptance rate of 80% and 71.3% respectively. We are extremely fortunate to our 187 reviewers who responded to the initial call for volunteers. We cannot express enough our gratitude for all their service that they've given to Division 15 and for all the hard work that they did. And now I'll turn it over to Jamaal. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole, and hello, everyone. So I'm just going to take us quickly through the schedule that we have for these next 3 days. We're here today, August 6th. We're currently in the Division 15 business meeting, but I also want to emphasize our session that we have starting at 5 o'clock, right after the end of our business meeting. So it is a presidential poster session with a data blitz or with a video blitz slide. So just want to spend a little bit of time talking about, this new format. So for this presidential poster session with the data blitz, posters were ranked the highest out of the 255 that were submitted, again, based on reviewer scores. So when you go to the website page, you'll see a PDF version of each of those highly ranked posters, but you'll also see a 90-second video blitz of their study. So this idea of video blitz or data blitz, it's a new presentation style that's beginning to appear, more frequently across social sciences conferences, and APA has really been pushing it as well. So a data blitz is essentially a high-level overview of a study presented in a really engaging or provocative format. So we encourage the authors not to try to summarize their entire study in 90 seconds, which is impossible to do, but rather ask a provocative question, highlight a counterintuitive finding, or lead with a practical relevant statement that will pique the interest and engagement of the audience. So when you go to the page that hosts this presidential virtual poster session, you'll see the posters listed, and then you'll see a 90-second video blitz for each poster. And then based off of which of those might pique your interest, you'll then enter into a Zoom room for whichever author you choose. So each of the authors will have a link to their own Zoom room, and in that room, you can engage the author in a more comprehensive, in their more comprehensive summary of the study, and pretty much just what a basic or normal in-person poster session would look like. So we're really excited about this new format. We're really hoping to debut it in person, but we're contained to virtual, but we're really optimistic that this will work well for us. Slide. So here's our Friday schedule starting at 12:30 Eastern time. We will have the career, if we go all the way to the end of the schedule, we'll have the Career Achievement Award by Steve Graham at 4 o'clock. And then right after that at 5 Eastern time, we'll have the early career session with Dr. Gray and Bai, who will be talking about school-based research, hitting the ground running with that, research practice partnerships, and the like. Slide. Oh yes, so you can go through all of it. So what we have, obviously this is a fully virtual conference. We have live premieres and live events. So it's impossible to do everything live just for a variety of different reasons, but live premieres are essentially presentations that are pre-recorded, but will be made available at the listed date and time. The nice thing about the live premieres is that the presenters will also be present at the premiere, and they'll be available to do a Q&A, answer questions. So those are the premieres. A lot of events are fully live. Those presentations are happening live in person via Zoom. And then the presenters will also be around for Q&A after that. Everything is on the Division 15 homepage. We can see here at the bottom in blue. Slide. Finally, here's our last day, Saturday. Again, starting at 12:30 with the Pintridge and Snow Awards with Jenna Finch and Doug Lombardi. I also just want to highlight at 2:30 the discussion on of Division 15 actions and opportunities around race. I think that's really going to be a great session that I think many folks will want to attend. Again, there's a cap on each of those 13 breakout rooms. So please sign up as soon as you can. I think Helen Rose said by Saturday, am I correct? Okay, try and sign up. Friday, sorry.
At 2 o'clock.
Friday at 2 o'clock. So please sign up by then. Most importantly, to get the breakout room that you want, but then also so that Helen Rose Foss can do her work. And then we have our outgoing presidential session by Gail Sinatra. And then finally, we'll be ending with our virtual social happy hour, which will be, again, a breakout of several different rooms with several different theme topics that are just a bit more informal for folks to network and get to know one another. Slide. We have 5 different poster sessions, which are entitled here. All the poster sessions are available on the larger APA convention center. So you can access those there. Slide, but then you can also access all of the live premieres and the live events not only on the Division 15 site, but also through the larger APA system. There will be links to all of those events as well. Slide. And a big heart for everyone. Have a great conference, and please come out 5 o'clock to the presidential poster session, which is in 20 minutes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you to Nicole and Jamaal. What a great work. What a great amount of work you put into this virtual session, and I appreciate it greatly. It was already a lot of work to be a program chair, just dealing with the sessions submission system we have. The data blitz starts at 5 o'clock, and I think that's it. Thank you all for coming.